Good afternoon. I'd love to welcome the next speaker, Paul Rakovic, the Head of Procurement at Treasury Wine Estates in Victoria, Australia. Paul has extensive experience leading teams across the world's most renowned multinationals and holds extensive and strong experience in strategic procurement leadership, transformation and digitization. Today, we're very pleased to be able to hear his insights on the source-to-pay digitization, charting a course for optimal outcomes.
Excellent. Well, thank you to the Zycus team for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm going to take you through what we're doing at Treasury Wine Estates and the transformation journey that we're currently on. Just quickly, a little bit about myself. I'm the Global Head of Procurement at Treasury Wine Estates, and I've been a 20+ year practitioner in procurement and delivering procurement transformation. So firstly, a little bit around Treasury Wine Estates. So for those that don't know our company, and many do because of our wonderful brands like Penfolds, we're a global brand-led business, the largest wine company in the world. And we do everything from the vineyard right through to the glass. So you can see we've got a very diverse business. We're engaged in viticulture and in vineyard management. We've got high volume manufacturing lines producing bottles of wine. And then we've really got a luxury marketing division selling our wines across many premium customers. So you can tell from this that we've got a very large and diverse supply base and need for procurement. So you'll see here, our procurement spend is about $1.7 billion Australian per year. That's made up of direct spend, which is largely the bottles and labels on the wine, and then a large chunk of indirect spend, which is all of your associated goods and services with those businesses we talked about. We've got a very fragmented supply base currently, so 13,500 suppliers, of which is a very long tail. So 7,700 really make up a very small percentage of our spend. So we've got lots of work to do to kind of get the most out of our procurement dollar. 600 active contracts or statement of works, and at the moment a very manual process. And you'll see this is why we're looking to go on this procurement journey with Zycus. Just quickly on our current landscape, and this really sets up why we're looking to do this transformation. And for you in the audience, you know source-to-pay. Our current state or architecture is really fragmented. We have a manual sourcing process. It's very, very variable depending on which team member is currently running a project. We've got contract lifecycle management with Icertis, and whilst Icertis is a reasonably good platform, we're only using a very limited amount of that functionality. So really what it's there doing is just a contracts repository and a workflow system. We have Zycus already for our guided buying and quick sourcing, but it's not currently utilized, and for reasons which I'll go through in this presentation, was never integrated into our systems of record. And lastly, for the P2P process, we run JDE on premise, and we don't have requisitioning at the moment, as it was deemed a manual process and duplicative. We use Dow Jones as our supply qualification tool, so in supply information management, and we've got a bunch of manual reports and analytics. So you can see it really is a fragmented landscape of what we currently want, and it's not meeting anyone's requirements. So we started this journey and we really built a case for change across the organisation. We want to raise the profile and capability of procurement, and we need a good business case to get the investment required to do that. So this was the case for change, really, and cost consciousness being at the heart of the change. We all know the current environment and difficulties that we're having in supply chains. And we want to make sure that the organisation understands every dollar counts and we're getting the best out of our spend relative to the market. An easy interface. You would see from the previous slide, it's really difficult for our users to navigate their way through a procurement transaction. We want to make that a one way to work with procurement. We want to make it easier. We want to change our relationships with suppliers, and you would have seen from the large amount of suppliers that we have that we really do have a tactical engagement at the moment, and we want to build stronger partnerships. We should be getting the best that we can out of our supply base and leveraging their strengths in our organisation. Part of the change and transformation we're going on is really bringing procurement work back to procurement. And where it's been decentralized up until now, we're taking the burden away from the business, and we're bringing that back to people that actually understand it. And that's this last point here, is making sure that we're leveraging the different strengths of our organisation. So procurement focuses on procurement tasks and the supply market, and the business is therefore allowed to focus on what they're good at, which is growing and making great wine. So I'll just speak in a little bit more detail around what a couple of those points were. So cost consciousness, and we really are missing through our systems landscape the ability to maximise our leverage. You'd see, I talked about the suppliers. For those who know procurement, we've got a large amount of free text purchase orders, and really what that is we're not getting the information required to actually understand what the business is procuring. The normal purchase order with it's a good or it's a service, and that's all you get. It's really not providing us the analytics to build better strategies. We are not taking our spend to market, so we've done some studies and seen that more than half of our spend is just a one quote, one supplier type engagement, and we're missing the kind of competitive nature of our spend. We've seen, and this breaks my heart when I say this, that we've had to go through an audit recovery firm to really go and check our invoices and make sure we've been paying what we agreed on the contracts. And you can read from there, just in the 1 year, we recovered $2.6 million in invoice discrepancies. And unfortunately, from my perspective, I had to pay someone $850,000 to do that for me. And this is standard sort of functionality in systems like Zycus, and we're really excited to be able to do that. And then the last one is around manual processing, and we feel that we need to bring Treasury up to a more modern standard around how we process and use tools, and then really be able to reduce the numbers of people that we have running those manual transactions. There's a whole bunch of other things in there as well as risks that we'd all be aware of. If we're not sending purchase orders to suppliers, then we are not really operating under our terms, which can create issues for us later on in the process. So this is the step change we're trying to deliver as it relates to cost consciousness. And then the simplification pieces, for our users, and this is what we do see for procurement systems. None of them are integrated or talk to each other. Our JDE configuration is very basic, so it misses some of the functionality required for a user to be able to operate effectively. Supplier onboarding process is very manual. It requires duplicative information to be filled in around our vendors, depending on what step you're in. Manual PO release processes, so we don't send purchase orders out of the system to our vendors at the moment. It's reliant on someone creating a PDF and sending it by email. And we've got no way at the moment to broadcast communications with our suppliers. So you can imagine through COVID and then out of COVID, we really needed to communicate on a broad basis with our suppliers. We had no way to do that. That became a very manual process. I'll talk very quickly about this because I'm sure you all understand what tail spend management is. And we are, as part of this model and what we're doing with Zycus, is bringing in a buying desk to create and bid out lower level spend to panels of suppliers. I mean, we're missing that functionality as we talk today, and we're really excited that we'll be able to do this on the business's behalf in the future. So that's a lot about the procurement change. We say we get to, well, why Zycus? And we did a lot of research in the market, looking at different tools, integrated tools, best in breed tools, and we've decided that what we're really after firstly is technology simplification. So we want to have one system to engage with the organisation, our supply bases, and we found that overall Zycus best met our needs and been able to operate across all of those different process steps in source to pay. We definitely need integration. It's where we've fallen down in the past. We need our systems talking to each other, and we need to make sure that we've got real-time feeds of data. And we felt Zycus, through the integrations, was a great partner. They offered integration as a service, which meant that we could really focus our IT organisation on the basic side of integration without having to do coding, which was great for them. Lots of complexities removed, and you really get this flow now when we've deployed of, we source, we're able to flip that straight into a contract. We're able to get the contract rates and flip those into catalogs and guided buying, and you almost have a seamless approach to how the organisation will buy. It enables the procurement team to really focus on what's important to them, which is negotiating longer term contracts with good commercial models. It also improves the experience of the business because they can have this Amazon-like shopping experience for the goods and services they need. All of that then underpins value delivery, which is kind of what we're tasked to do as a procurement function, both value and risk. And the platform that we're looking to deploy really will enable us to take more spend to market and leverage the pricing in a better way in terms of what we negotiate with our preferred suppliers. We're targeting about a 5 times ROI initially, and we'll ramp that up over the next 3 to 5 years. And then what you see really at the heart of this is Zycus is so important for us to be able to deliver this vision. And on the other side, without having an army of procurement resources kind of deployed to do it. So, digital at the heart of what we're doing here and with Zycus as a partner. This is the landscape we'll move to. So all of the functionality will go from sourcing and contracting, guided buying, right through to the PO and receipt. And we'll quickly follow that up in the next year with the invoice processing side. So we've got a complete end-to-end transaction set in Zycus. That's coupled with moving our supply qualification process and supplier engagement to Zycus and the Zycus network. We'll work with the standard reporting functionality out of Zycus. We'll look at Merlin as soon as we've got enough data in the system. And then we've got an interface that we'll build in Power BI, so we'll be able to visualize all of the data that's been created in Zycus. So this is our roadmap, and you'll see there's three streams or three programs of work. They're interdependent, and everyone who is going on a procurement transformation will realize that these are the things that you need to do. There's a bit of the analogy, you've got to build the plane, fix the plane while you're flying the plane here. We don't get a chance to stop our value delivery and our sourcing to the business. So we're really making sure that we've got a well-balanced program, looking at the operating model change I've talked about now, with the systems landscape. We've got to keep that in pace with our functional excellence, and how we improve our capability as a procurement organisation. And alongside that, then how we're delivering our services to the business and making sure we're achieving operations excellence. And we're running an agile program internally to do this, really focusing the team on delivering bite-sized chunks of these programs of work in a meaningful way, which is well communicated and engaged into the organisation. So I think that's where we are in terms of our procurement journey to date. Just some insights from myself in terms of what we're thinking about for the future and innovation. And these are areas that we've had various engagements with. So I'll talk through those in summary format. So the first one is AI in contracting. And this is really around how can we leverage our systems in a different way to remove the need for long engagement with legal functions, and it's almost using a gamification approach in contracting around clauses, fallback clauses, and then how the AI will end up in a position with a relative risk attached to a contract. So that's quite an exciting piece that's emerging as we speak now. There's a number of startups in that space which are progressing, and it'll be great to see what Zycus is doing in this space. Autonomous sourcing is the next one. I've previously run a study with the London Business School, and we built a data science model around how you could use inputs from requisitioners from your data set to make sourcing decisions on behalf of procurement. And it really is around how predictable your requirements are, and then letting the system make the determination for you. This is the future, I think, as we talk about buying at the tactical or operational levels, is really getting the need for having humans involved in that sourcing process out. Likewise, AI in negotiation, it kind of goes hand in hand with contracting, but it is using a built-up data set and experience over time. So lots of machine learning here in what you want to negotiate and what are the sequence or the series of steps that you go through to get to your desired outcome. Really exciting to see what's happening in this space. Blockchain thinking and data creation. So this is really trying to get people away from looking at data in a sequence and saying, in the blockchain thinking, as soon as a piece of data appears in one place, it's available to everyone. So if you can imagine, when you first create a supplier name, that supplier name should be populated wherever you need supplier name in your systems. And we're really trying to focus that on. So we are only enter data in once, and it comes from as close to the source as possible. So it's not passing through multiple hands. And we're thinking about that around supplier lifecycle management at the moment, and how we make that nice and easy. The last one is, and I love gamification. So how do you create a game and get suppliers to actively engage in your organisation, whether that's with your SRM program or in many of the other challenges the organisation faces, and reward suppliers for that participation. So we're looking at games at the moment around sustainability in our organisation, and really get our suppliers to lean in on sustainability in terms of the data we require to meet reporting objectives. So there are some of the things that we're looking at for the future. Hopefully they resonate with you all. With that, I'd like to say thank you.
Paul, thank you so much. That was a very insightful presentation. We really appreciate your insights and comments, and thank you very much for your involvement. Have a great day.